So welcome back, and we want to do our testing of our endpoints using our newly created permissions. So to set that up, I will need to write some SQL because I want to assign permissions to the users. And since we currently don't have any code to automatically assign read permission to users, we will just use the queries to do that. Later on, we can incorporate those changes into our code. For now, let's just write SQL to get the job done. So what I want to do is to give all users read permission, and currently our code, our API does not do that. So let's just write some SQL. So I will simply say insert, all right, into, and the name of our table, of course, if you remember, is users underscore permissions. Okay, and so this is the name of the table, and if you recall, it has two values, user ID and the permission ID. And so we will simply use a select to do the insertion. Okay, so I'm pretty sure you're familiar with this. So we will say select, and we will say ID from users. Okay, however, we're not done. That's just the ID. We need to get the permission ID, which is the read permission. So I'll just put a comma here, and to get that next field, well, I will need to access the permissions table. So that's easy enough. I could just do another select. I will say select ID from permissions, right, where the code is read. So schools colon read. Okay, and that gives us the two fields. All right, so for each user, we will write in that same row the ID code that evaluates to schools read. Okay, so that's easy enough. What I want to do, I have a user named Panda, and I want to give Panda write permission. So currently everybody has read permission, but I only want to give Panda write permission. So let's just write some SQL to do that as well. And so we'll put another entry into our users permissions table. However, we will need to specifically specify that it is for user Panda and that it is to write. So to make it simpler, I'm just going to use again an insert, but I will use insert values. So let's just copy this. All right, and so I'm going to simply say insert into users permissions. I could specify the columns, so I could say user underscore ID and permission underscore ID. Okay, and so values. Okay, and what are the values? Well, there are two values I want to insert. One for Panda's ID, and one for the ID for write permission. So again, I will just do another select. So for the first column, I will say select ID from users where email is Panda's email. So where email is panda at example.com. Okay, and that should give us the ID for panda. And the next column will say that panda will have write permission. So again, we know that. So I'm just going to copy this code here. All right. Good. So we're almost done. Schools write. And that will give us permission for panda, write permission for panda. So it's just an insert using values. Okay. So notice here when it's just a simple select. Okay, I could just use a select into the table, right? But because this one was a tad bit more complicated, then we simply used insert using values. And the values came about by using again select. So just notice the pattern. Now let's do one last thing before we actually do step 4. In the next video I'll do step 4. For now I just want to set up the permissions. So let's list the activated users and their permissions. Okay, so we want to see the activated users and what permissions they have. So that means I should see everybody having a read permission and only panda having a write permission. Now again, to get this information, we will need to do some joins. And so I will simply say select. Okay, I want to see the email, of course. So I'll say select email, okay, and I want to see permissions underscore code, okay, and let's say from permissions, okay, and so I will now have to do an inner join because I will need to get email from users, right? And I'll need to get the permission codes from the permissions table. So let's just start off with inner join users underscore permissions. And we're going to join on users underscore permissions dot permission underscore ID, all right, is the same as the permissions table but ID. Okay, and then we need to continue joining, so we'll do an inner join, but this time we'll just join it on the last table, which is users. Okay, and then we will say on users underscore permissions that user underscore ID is the same as the users dot ID. And of course we want to say where users dot activated is true. So we only want to have activated users. Okay, so these are our queries that will sort of help us to do our test before we actually write some code in the next video or upcoming videos. So let's just come here, paste. Okay, so 5 inserts. So if I were to do something like select all from users underscore permissions, then you notice I get for each user, user 1, user 2, and so on, permission ID of 1. Because if I see a select all, all from permissions, we will see that permissions. we will see that read is 1 and write is 2. Okay, so that works. Now let's go ahead and let's make Panda the only user that has write permissions. So let's see if our query works. Okay, yeah, it works. Great. So let's just see what we have for user permissions. Alright, so notice we have 1, which I'm assuming is Panda, and they have write permission. Okay, good enough. And let's look at our final query, where we are just listing for each user what their permissions currently are. Paste. Okay. It seems I'm misspelling permissions. Or not. What did it tell me? It said, oh, yeah, I guess I missed. Okay, so, let's try again. Put error message. Permissions do not exist. That's line 2. Okay, so it's line 2. I made the spelling error. Permissions. Permissions. Okay. Let's try again. Hopefully the third time is a charm. My spelling permissions wrong again? No, I'm pretty sure I fixed it. Oh, I did not. Permissions. Okay. The third time was not the charm. Alright, let's try again. Right. Seems I can't spell. Permissions. Interesting. Let's try again. Permissions underscore code does not exist. Permissions underscore code. Okay. It's my mistake. It's permissions dot code. Right. That should be the final fix. Alright, paste. Alright, great. So we have for each user the permissions. Panda is happening twice, so let's just do a group by. So let's just grab this. Let's just do a group by. So let's just say group by email. And so let's just put let's just use the array aggregate function to get all the codes in one array. So I'll just say array underscore agg. It's a function, and it will since we're grouping, we'll just have one array, and let's just call this permissions. Alright, so let's see if that kind of cleans it up for us. So we should see Panda in an array, meaning all Panda's permissions should be in an array. Alright, so here we go, right? So Panda, notice there's only one entry for Panda, and we have all Panda's permissions on one line. Schools read, schools write. Okay, so we have our permission set up, and so I will leave this video here, and in the next video we will actually test our endpoints. So I'll see you in that video.